Yeah, this really happened. I seem to have a talent for breaking games. Okay, so last week oh, you stupid Gruzzles keep stealing my words. Excuse me a moment, guys. There we go. Anyways, last week I said there were 2 great games left, and indeed, today's ancient DOS game, Word Rescue, is widely regarded to be a good, solid edutainment title. However, my opinions were colored by my experience with this game in elementary school, and now that I'm older, much more experienced in game design, and trying to play this game on its highest difficulty setting, I can safely say it's not nearly as good as my nostalgia thought it was. Playing the registered version isn't helping matters either, since it suffers from severe repetition in the later episodes, something several Apogee titles are guilty of. And I suppose as far as kids are concerned, this game does the job, but it always bothers me when just tiny little tweaks to a game could make it infinitely better, and yet it somehow manages never to see those changes. Now, let's get the game stats over with, and then we'll go from there. Word Rescue was developed by Karen Cruther, president of Redwood Games, and originally published by Apogee in 1992. It's a one-player platformer featuring support for EGA 320x200 16-color graphics, PC speaker sound effects, and ad-lib music. As for its current release date, it's still shareware, and you actually have a couple options if you want to get this game. Your first option is to buy the registered version from the 3D Realms website at www.3drealms.com for about $6. Your other option is to buy it from the Redwood Games website for $12. Now, based just on that, you'd probably want to get it from 3D Realms, but Redwood Games sweetens the deal by offering the Plus version of the game as well, and you can order Word Rescue Plus, Math Rescue, and Math Rescue Plus all at the same time for $35. Compared to buying the original Word Rescue and Math Rescue from the 3D Realms website, while getting the Plus versions from the Redwood Games website, this actually saves you some money. $1 whole. Yeah, unless you know you want the registered versions of all 4 games, just stick to buying the regular versions from 3D Realms. This game has a very simple story to it. There are these mean-spirited creatures called Gruzzles across the planet who are illiterate and figure since they can't read, no one else should be able to. So they go and steal all the words from everywhere, and it's up to you to match all the words back up with the pictures that represent them so Benny the Bookworm can restore those words to all the literature that they belong to. It's an edutainment game dealing with words. What kind of story did you expect? Before you actually begin the game, you can choose to play as a boy or a girl, which doesn't have any effect on the gameplay short of your character sprite. You also have to choose a difficulty level, which has no effect on the difficulty of the educational component of the game, despite the fact that the difficulty ratings are given by age. Really, you need to choose your difficulty level based on your skill at playing games in the first place. I'll talk more about the effects of difficulty a little later. Once you begin the game, you're taken into a world filled with books and question mark boxes. The goal of each level is to touch the question mark boxes to turn them into words, then find and touch the picture that matches that word. Touch the wrong picture and you'll cause a Gruzzle to spawn. Once you've gotten all 7 words in a level, Benny comes down and puts the words back into his book, which in turn provides you with a key to unlock the level's exit door. Find this door, walk through it, and you move on to the next level. Also, if you're having trouble figuring out which word goes with which picture, you can press the W key to get a list of them. The books in the world are mostly just for bonus points, but when playing on hard mode, the secret word at the bottom of the screen is hidden until you pick up at least 20 books. The secret word is important because there are individual letters scattered throughout the level, and if you collect each letter in the right order to spell the word at the bottom of the screen, you not only get some bonus points, but you completely refill your stock of slime. Now, slime is your weapon of choice in this game. Whenever you're face to face with a Gruzzle, you can press spacebar to have Benny drop a bucket of slime on it to neutralize it. You can carry 5 buckets of slime at a time, and picking up slime buckets throughout the level restores all 5 buckets on easy skill, 3 buckets on medium, and 2 buckets on hard. The Gruzzles themselves come in various forms and are a combination of stupid and smart. What I mean is that they have a tendency to jump when you're at a higher altitude than they are, making it very difficult to jump over them or to escape from them by climbing upwards. However, they aren't able to jump down through non-solid floors like you can, and sometimes they'll walk off of edges, possibly leading them straight down a bottomless pit of instant death. I don't know if I should call it instant death or not, since the documentation makes it a point to describe that nobody's actually dying in this game. If you touch a Gruzzle, they steal your words and Benny comes down to rescue you, forcing you to restart the level. If you fall down a bottomless pit, you accidentally drop all of your words when Benny comes in to catch you, forcing you to restart the level. If a drop of slime falls on you, Benny pulls you away to wash you off, but your words get washed away with the slime. And when you drop some slime on a Gruzzle, it just humiliates them and they go off somewhere to clean themselves up. So yeah, no one's technically dying, but the effects are still the same. And this kind of also explains why you have infinite lives. And trust me when I say you need infinite lives in this game, because there are a lot of cheap deaths. Like several other games of the time, enemies don't get processed if they're not on screen, and a surprisingly large number of enemies in this game have their starting locations set in mid-air, which means if you jump to try and touch something and scroll the screen up in the process, it's very possible to suddenly have a Gruzzle come falling down right on top of you with zero chance to react to it. And even if you do react to it, you have to be facing a Gruzzle in order to slime it. If you're not facing it, you won't hit it. On lower difficulty settings though, this isn't really that big a deal. On easy skill, every level only starts with a single, slow-moving Gruzzle, and you always start new lives and levels with full slime. On medium skill, there's only 2 or 3 Gruzzles per level, they only move a little faster, and again, you always start new lives and levels with full slime. Hard skill, however, is a massive spike in difficulty. Levels will have, on average, up to and over 8 fast-moving Gruzzles, and whenever you lose a life or start a new level, your slime buckets are not refilled. This is a major game breaker since some of the levels literally start you off with a Gruzzle or 2 right in your path, ready to touch you within seconds, and if you don't have any slime, you are screwed. Don't believe me? Watch. Yeah, while capturing gameplay footage for this game, I ended up having to intentionally collect slime buckets and die just to refill my slime for the start of the level so I wouldn't run out trying to deal with the Gruzzles. Now, I know part of the challenge is supposed to be dodging the Gruzzles, and that the slime is really only intended as a last resort, made evident by the fact that there's a secret bonus you can get for never using your slime during the level, but the Gruzzles are nearly impossible to get past without slime on hard difficulty, because of how fast they move, how often they jump, and the sheer quantity of them. But I didn't want to play on medium skill instead because it was too easy. So yeah, there's some serious issues with the difficulty levels you can choose between. Not to mention, some of the word picture combos are a little interesting. The picture for orange, for example, is solid, bright red. Pretty sure the color red does not equal orange. There was also a level where I had to match the word water, so when coming across a bucket pouring water, you'd think that would be the right picture, but nope, that picture was for the word pour. The water picture was literally just water, no bucket. There's also a picture of a Native American, which is linked to the word Indian. Yes, sometimes it's hard to believe it's only been the past decade or so where that outdated terminology's finally started to get the boot. One last thing I want to mention too is that the joystick controls were not very well tested in this game. You see, the keyboard controls are simple enough. Left and right move left and right, up jumps or climbs up, down climbs down or passes through non-solid floors, and spacebar slimes. With a joystick or gamepad, jumping has been moved to its own button, which is a good thing. But climbing up was also moved to the same button. So you press a button to climb up and press down to climb down. It is possible to get used to this, but it just makes using a joystick or gamepad less desirable. Anyways, that's all I really got to say about Word Rescue. It's an okay game, and for kids playing on lower difficulty settings who are going to fail to match words up on occasion, it's a pretty fun thing. But the hard difficulty setting is totally unbalanced, even for someone who's an expert at playing games. And while you can adjust the difficulty of the gameplay itself, there's no adjusting the difficulty of the educational component. So unfortunately, this is a game that really only appeals to a very particular age group. And if you're outside that age range, it just really doesn't have much to offer. Considering how cheap it is now though, if you have younger children and you want to introduce them to old DOS titles, this one's fair enough. Dosbox settings are super simple. Just leave cycles set to auto and you're good to go. Even the joystick support works without any extra configuration. So, that's all for today's episode of Ancient DOS Games. Next week is episode 85, featuring the last game of Edutainment Month, and we're going to be taking a look at a game where you scale a mountain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys know which one this is, so make sure you send your guesses to adg@pixelships.com and tune in next Saturday as we take a look at one of my most favorite DOS edutainment titles.